Economy of Iraqi Kurdistan. Published November the 29th, 2017. Special characters are denoted as follows. And. Left and right parentheses. Content flagged as having old or out-of-date information. Economy in Iraqi Kurdistan consists of the autonomous economy in Kurdistan region in northern Iraq. The Kurdistan region's economy is dominated by the oil industry, agriculture and tourism. Due to relative security and peace in the region and more economically liberal and market-oriented policies, it has a far more developed economy in comparison to other parts of Kurdistan. Part 1 History. Part 1 History. Chapter 1 1992 to 2003. The Kurdistan regional government territories in northern Iraq have been semi-autonomous since the 1990 Gulf War and subsequent protection of the region from the hostile forces of the Hussein regime forces by the Allied establishment of a no-fly zone. Prior to the removal of Saddam Hussein, the Kurdistan regional government received approximately 14% of the revenues from the UN's Oil for Food program. By the time of the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, the program had disbursed $8.35 billion to the KRG. Iraqi Kurdistan's relative food security allowed for substantially more of the funds to be spent on development projects than in the rest of Iraq. By the program's end in 2003, $4 billion of the KRG's Oil for Food funds remained unspent. Between 1992 and 2003, the GDP growth rate was between 6% and 10%. Part 1 History. Chapter 2 During U.S. occupation of Iraq. 2003 to 2011. Following the removal of Saddam Hussein's administration and the subsequent violence, the three provinces fully under the Kurdistan regional government's control were the only three in Iraq to be ranked secure by the U.S. government. According to the KRG website, not a single coalition soldier has died nor a single foreigner been kidnapped since the 2003 invasion of Iraq in areas administered by the KRG. The relative security and stability of the region has allowed the KRG to sign a number of investment contracts with foreign companies. In 2006, the first new oil well since the invasion of Iraq was drilled in the Kurdistan region by the Norwegian energy company DNO. Initial indications are that the oil field contains at least 100 million barrels, 16 million cubic meters, of oil and will be pumping 5,000 barrels per day, 790 cubic meters per day. By early 2007, the KRG has signed exploration agreements with several other oil companies, including Canada's Western Oil Sands and the UK's Sterling Energy and Gulf Keystone Petroleum. Citation needed. The stability of the Kurdistan region has allowed it to achieve a higher level of development than other regions in Iraq. In 2004, the per capita income was 50% higher than in the rest of Iraq. By 2009, this was 200% higher. The highest growth rates achieved was around 12.7% in 2005 to 2008 and again 11.5% in 2010 to 2012. Since 2012, the growth rate has stabilized between 7% and 8%. The government continues to receive a portion of the revenue from Iraq's oil exports, and the government will soon implement a unified foreign investment law. The KRG also has plans to build a media city in Erbil and free trade zones near the borders with Turkey and Iran by 2016. The KRG is an integral part of the general cultural and economic region also containing Syria, Turkey, Lebanon, Israel, Cyprus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iran, Georgia, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, and Moldova. That is, the Eastern Mediterranean Black Sea Caucasian region. As such, The KRG leadership has expressed plans for a more thorough integration and relationship with these countries, especially the three Caucasian republics, Turkey and Moldova. This would give the Iraqi Kurdish economy a better bridgehead or foothold into Russia, Europe and the EU. According to President Barzani, this would also cement KRG's essentially Eurasian character rather than an undesirable Middle Eastern Arab character. According to Barzani, the Kurdish culture, national characteristics, work ethics, business culture, etc., are more similar to that of Georgia, Moldova, etc., than to that of the rest of Iraq. It also has a similar Eastern Mediterranean climate, cuisine and thus a favorable tourist destination. Since 2003, the stronger economy of Iraqi Kurdistan has attracted around 20,000 workers from other parts of Iraq. Iraqi Kurdistan has a well-balanced budget, with relatively efficient bureaucracy and social welfare services by Middle Eastern standards, and military expenditures well under control. Budget deficit is almost negligible. It has also better social services than its neighbors, with good quality and free education up to university level, and efficient primary healthcare. Secondary and tertiary healthcare, however, remains a problem in rural areas. Regulation and labor laws are very favorable, and red tape is much less than Middle Eastern standards. It takes approximately 4 days to start a business and get the necessary permits. Licensing is required only in manufacturing alcohol, cigarettes, and in the defense sector, much of which is still state-owned, especially smaller factories for producing small arms and ammunition. Part 1 History. Chapter 3 Special Economic Zones. The KRG currently has 4 SEZs in Dohuk, Batifat, Shaklawa and Chamwamal. The first SEZ was set up in 1999 in Batifat, and the last in 2011 in Shaklawa. The SEZs are mainly for manufacturing of hydrocarbons, pharmaceuticals, packaged food and processed food. These include the largest bottling plant for Coca-Cola in the Middle East outside of Egypt, Israel and the GCC, and the largest production center for ice cream in Iraq and Syria combined. The Chamwamal SEZ is dedicated solely for the petroleum and natural gas sector. Further 2 more SEZs, in Amedi and Bazian, have been planned to be completed before 2016. SEZs together account for nearly 30% of all industrial jobs and 40% of all industrial revenue and output. Part 1 History. Chapter 4 2011 Present. Despite objections from Baghdad, the Erbil Governorate says the KRG has signed contracts with 42 oil companies from 17 countries with more favorable terms than those offered by Iraq's central government. As recently as 2014, KRG officials claimed to sell 200,000 BPD and optimistically predicted exports of 1 million barrels annually. The Kurdistan regional government been exporting crude oil by truck to Turkey during the summer of 2012. In 2013, the Kurdistan regional government completed a pipeline from the Tak-Tak field through Erbil and Dahak to Faish Khabur on the Turkey-Iraq border, where it is connected to the Kirkuk-Ceyhan pipeline. This 36-inch, 910 mm diameter pipeline has capacity of 150,000 barrels per day, 24,000 cubic meters per day. It allows the export of oil from the Tak-Tak and Tork oil fields. On the 23rd of May 2014, the Kurdistan regional government announced that the first oil transported via the new pipeline was loaded into tanker at Ceyhan. Chapter 4 2011 Present. Section 1 Financial Crisis. The Kurdistan region was hit by an economic crisis in 2015. Despite an increase in overall production, oil revenues have decreased significantly since 2014 due to lower oil prices, disputes with the central government and the rapid expansion of the Islamic State. In June 2015, ExxonMobil, the largest exporter by volume, evacuated its staff and left its facilities in the care of Peshmerga. In early December 2015, Peshmerga reportedly repelled an IS attack on those facilities, though the prospect of such attacks poses a deterrent to foreign investment. 17% of the central government's budget is earmarked for distribution to the KRG, but no funds have been disbursed since February 2014. A US-mediated agreement in 2014 would have resolved the conflict between the oil ministries of the KRG and the GOI, but this collapsed over allegations of underpayment. Erbil's independent contracts sold for less than market price due to its poor quality. According to some estimates, the debt of the Kurdish government reached $18 billion by January 2016. Many government workers, including teachers, soldiers and other employees, have not been paid for 3 months from as of October 2015. The president of the Kurdistan region Barzani, however, announced that increased oil sales are about to balance the Kurdish budget. In October 2015, large-scale riots by government employees broke across the Kurdistan region, with several fatalities. Part 2. Wealth. According to Iraqi President Jalal Talabani, since 2003 the number of millionaires in the Kurdish city of Sulaymaniyah has increased from 12 to 2,000, reflecting the financial and economic growth of the region. In 2009, Iraqi Kurdistan had the lowest poverty rates in Iraq. This recording is a derivative work from Wikipedia. For more information, please visit www.frogcast.org.